You think you're tough enough for a Rottweiler? You think being assertive, confident, and physically strong is all it takes? Let me open a loop right now that we won't close until the end of this video. What happens when the dog pushes harder than you expected, and doesn't stop? What happens when your authority isn't enough to earn its respect? Because the Rottweiler doesn't care how big your voice is, how many videos you've watched, or how many dogs you've raised before. It cares about one thing: consistency under pressure. And most people don't discover that truth until it's already too late. Let's open another loop. What exactly are you walking into when you bring home a Rottweiler? Because from the outside, it looks like you're getting a loyal protector, a confident companion, and a muscular shadow that will never leave your side. But what you're really getting is a test. A test of your emotional control. A test of your leadership. A test of whether you can show up every single day with structure, clarity, and calm authority, without ever letting it slip. This is where the first illusion begins. People think the Rottweiler wants to dominate them. They assume the growl, the hard stare, the stubborn refusal to move is about power. But that's not the whole picture. The Rottweiler doesn't challenge you because it wants to control you, it challenges you because it wants to trust you. And when it can't find clarity in your actions, it fills the vacuum. That's not aggression. That's survival logic. The Rottweiler isn't being defiant. It's saying, you didn't lead, so I had to. That loop, of unclear leadership and assumed control, starts subtly. It might begin with your dog ignoring a command. Looking away when called. Blocking your path at the front door. Small moments that you brush off. But what you're actually seeing is the beginning of a power shift. The dog isn't ignoring you. It's gauging whether your words carry weight. Whether your energy is grounded. Whether it can rely on you in moments of stress. And when it decides it can't, that's when things spiral. Let's close that loop. By the time most owners realize the dog no longer respects them, the damage is done. The bond has thinned. The obedience has become selective. The protection drive has turned reactive. And instead of a guardian, you now have a liability, one that can no longer be trusted around guests, children, or even yourself. And the most heartbreaking part? It wasn't the dog's failure. It was yours. Now let's open another loop. What if you do show up right? What if you bring structure, not chaos? What if you lead with calm, firm clarity every single day? What does the Rottweiler become then? Here's the twist most people never get to experience, because they gave up too soon or trained the wrong way. When you earn this dog's trust, you don't just get obedience. You get something deeper. You get a dog that synchronizes with you. That watches your back without being told. That adjusts its behavior based on how you enter a room. But to get there, you'll be tested. Emotionally. Mentally. Even physically. This dog will sense your inconsistencies like radar. If you're tired, it knows. If you're frustrated, it reacts. If you're distracted, it gets suspicious. This is not a checklist dog. It doesn't operate off rewards and corrections alone. It operates off your emotional state. Your timing. Your tone. It demands presence. And if you're not present, it becomes anxious, unpredictable, or worse, reactive. So let's close that loop now. The Rottweiler isn't asking for control, it's asking for stability. And when it doesn't find that in you, it tries to create it on its own. That's where the problem dog reputation begins. That's where the headlines come from. That's why shelters fill up with misunderstood Rottweilers that were never given structure, only expectations. Now here's another loop people never think to open. What happens when this dog bonds too deeply? What happens when the Rottweiler sees you as its purpose? Because make no mistake, this dog doesn't bond lightly. It bonds with intensity. It doesn't just follow, it watches. It doesn't just protect, it guards the air around you. That's powerful. But it's also dangerous. Because if that bond isn't balanced with leadership and discipline, the dog becomes possessive, anxious, territorial. Not because it's unstable, but because it's overattached. Let's close that loop now with the truth. The Rottweiler doesn't want to protect you out of fear or emotion. It wants to protect you because it trusts your judgment. It wants you to be its center. But only if that center is steady. And that's why the real danger of owning this breed isn't in how strong it is, but in how sensitive it is. Emotionally. Psychologically. Energetically. Still think you're tough enough? Let's open the final loop. What if you get all of this right? What if you lead consistently, love with boundaries, train with patience, and discipline with calm authority? What happens then? You unlock a level of canine partnership that most people will never experience. You get a dog that reads your thoughts. A dog that protects your home without a sound. A dog that respects your space, guards your energy, and trusts your leadership. Not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. And now let's close everything with this. Living with a Rottweiler will force you to become a better version of yourself, or expose the worst parts of you. It won't allow you to lie. Not to yourself. Not to your dog. It will reflect your patterns, amplify your weaknesses, and demand, every day, that you rise above them. That's not just tough, that's transformative. Because this breed doesn't want to follow someone strong. It wants to follow someone stable. If you can be that, if you're willing to be challenged, reshaped, and humbled, you'll earn a protector unlike any other. A dog that would stand between you and danger without hesitation. A dog that guards not just your life, but your integrity. So if you're asking, am I tough enough for a Rottweiler? You're asking the wrong question. The real question is, are you stable enough, consistent enough, and emotionally present enough to lead one? Because if you are, this dog will change your life forever.